What's up, YouTube? We back with another review. Let's get it. So we get into the episode. Rudo's lying on a bench. He's sad about something. Engine then arrives to try to cheer him up. He says, "Hey man, quit being so down. I heard you got your vital instrument to fully work." Rudo says, "Yeah, but I was useless in the fight." He says, "Grease is dead and I couldn't do nothing about it. I'm a loser." Rudo then asks himself, he says, "Why is this always happening to me? I start to do good and then something bad like this happens." Engine then reassures him. He says, "Hey, Grease knew what he was getting into." Engine then explains to Rudo. He says, "Grease didn't save you just because he was a spearwright. He put his life on the line for the team." He then tells Rudo, he says, "He probably seen that you and him was the same type of person who value objects and people the same." And after talking to Rudo, he says, "Snap out of, let's go inside and pay our respects to Grease." And so Engine and Rudo, they arrive at the hospital. And to Rudo's surprise, Grease is there. And he's well. He's not dead. Rudo says, "Hey, you got stabbed in your chest. I thought you was dead. How are you still alive?" Grease says, "Hey, man, don't count me out." And while this is going on, Engine and the other cleaners are trolling Rudo. They're saying, "So that's why you were all sad? You thought Grease was dead this whole time?" They started laughing at him and joking with him. Shortly thereafterwards, Grease explains to Rudo. He says, "The only reason why I made it because of the giver with the healing ability. If it wasn't for her, I would have been dead." The anime then introduces us to a new giver. Her name is Aisha. She's a bit shy, but she's a good healer. Grease then tells her, "Thank you for saving my life." He also thanks Folo, the other young cleaner. He says, "Without you, I wouldn't have got away from the Raiders." And last but not least, he thanks Rudo. He says, "I'm proud of you. You and Zunka kept Jabber in check. You did extremely well." He also tells Rudo, "Don't worry about destroying my talisman. If it helped you in any way, it's fine." Rudo then tells Grease, he says, "Hey man, I'm glad you're alive." And after their wholesome embrace, Engine then disturbs. He says, "Hey, not only do we have to defend ourselves against the trash beast, but we have a new enemy, the Raiders." He also lets the other cleaners know about some new intel he got. He tells the rest of the cleaners about the borders. And as he's explaining, a man appears from behind. Rudo's like, "Hey, Engine, who is this guy?" He says, "That's the boss." Rudo's like, "Huh? That's the boss?" After their initial shock, Rudo then calms down. The boss then comes and introduces himself. He tells Rudo, "My name is Corvus. Pleasure to meet you." He explains to Rudo that after hearing about his initial reason to why he wanted to join the cleaners, he was going to reject them. But then he explains, he says, "But after showing your heart in battle and the promising skills of your vital instrument, you will be a great asset." And so with that, he accepts Rudo into the cleaners, and now he's an official member. He tells Rudo, "Come to the back. I'm going to give you a uniform, and I'm going to give you some information." As we move along, the boss is speaking to Rudo. He's telling him about the borders. He explains to Rudo that borders are the place that lies between the spear and the ground. He also says that people who try to reach the spear crossing the border almost immediately die. He then goes into a legend about a mysterious woman who lives in the no-man lands, who's closest to the border. He tells a story about this lady helping the traveler that got lost. He continues his story. He says the traveler asks this mysterious lady, "Why do you live in a no man's land?" The woman then replies and says, "I watch people who come from above." The woman then tells him, "I've also seen people come and go." The anime then goes back to the boss talking to Rudo. He says, "Hey, there's a chance that she's seen people capable of crossing." He explains to Rudo, "This might could help you get back to the spear." Rudo then says, "Okay, so I have to find a person that she's helped and get more info from him." He says, "Yeah, but the journey will be dangerous. You up for it?" Rudo agrees. He says, "Of course I'm up for it." Engine then walks in the door. He says, "Rudo, hey, you look good in that uniform." After that, we move along. And the next scene captures Zunka the cleaner. He's nervous and scared. He sees some type of monster walking through the hallway. What is this beast? And after the quick cutscene, we go back to 6 hours earlier in the anime. The new scene shows us Rudo. He's trying to run and get to the no man lands. He's hell-bent on getting information on how to get to the spear. But the rest of the cleaners are saying, "No, you wait. You're not supposed to go see the lady today." Engine then says, "Rudo, how are you going to go on a mission half prepared?" He says, "Yeah, you can use your vital instrument really good, but you still don't know all the details of it. You're still learning it." He also adds that just running into the no man's land without any information is a certified death wish. He tells Rudo, "I'm coming with you." And lastly explains that the cleaner's job isn't just to take down trash beasts, we got to get information too. That's another reason why I'm going with you. He also then adds, he says, "We also got to look out for raiders." When he says that, it sparks some in Rudo. Rudo asks him, "Wait, how do raiders become givers?" Engine then gives him the lore on Raiders. He says just because a person's bad, that doesn't mean they don't take care of their vital instrument. And just because a person good, that don't mean that they do take care of theirs. He explains to Rudo, he says just because a person's good or bad doesn't mean they can't be a giver. Morality has nothing to do with it. He also tells Rudo people that don't like the cleaner say that we depend too much on our vital instruments. He jokingly says, to a regular person, somebody being obsessed with an object may look crazy, and he laughs it off. The anime then pans back to Rudo thinking, he's saying, I mistakenly thought that just because a person was evil that they didn't take care of their vital instruments. After that faint thought, Injun then tells Rudo, he says, hey man, chill out and relax, man. We've been battling for these last 2 days. Just get some rest. Rudo tries to relax, but he can't stop thinking about stuff. But while he's laying there in his bed, somebody busts through the door. It's Rio the cleaner. She tells Rudo, hey, let me give you a tour of the facility. And after showing him the whole building, she's walking and talking to him. She's saying, hey, what did you do when you was up there in the spear? He tells her all the various activities and things that he did. Rio's intrigued. She says, hey, did you ever try sweets? Rudo says, sweets? No, I'm poor. That was for rich people. Rio then tells Rudo, she says, hey, we got some. And after her and the engine give Rudo the lore on how this candy gets made and how it gets down here, Rudo takes a bite. He's amazed. He goes crazy. He becomes addicted to it. And he's eating so much that he becomes fat. All the cleaners are laughing and joking. And as they're walking through the hallway, Zonka hears him. He says, what is that little fool into now? And he goes towards him. But out of the blue, a humongous creature stands before him. Who could this be? He's spooked. He says, hey, we got an invader. But it's not an invader at all. It's actually Rudo. He tells him, hey, idiot, it's me. After the hilarious scene, the anime ends with the rest of the cleaners spectating Rudo drawing out the power of his vital instrument. But he can't do it. He fails. Engine and Rio start to troll him. They say, the only thing that you could do is eat. You can't do anything else. Rudo's thinking to himself, man, how do I do it? I did it the other time. How do I do it? And just like always, the genius Zonka, he comes up with a plan. He says, how about you go and get some garbage? Maybe that'll trigger it. And as we move along, they go forth with the plan. And so as Rudo's looking down on this heap of garbage, he picks up an object. His vital instrument triggers, and the object becomes a weapon. The plan was successful. But as Rudo is showcasing his different abilities, he gets a nosebleed and he falls out. Engine then says, the quality of his gloves are too strong for him. He can't handle them yet. Engine then goes on and tell him the lore about quality and how it improves in a vital instrument the better you take care of it. When you give it quality and you take care of it, the vital instrument becomes stronger and powerful. He says this is called improving the quality. Engine also adds that experience and mindset also plays a role. After getting his knowledge, Rudo then says, but why did I break Grease's talisman after I was done in battle? The cleaner Rio says that maybe it's a fulfillment thing. When you're done using an object and it's filled its purpose, it disintegrates. And she's completely right. Rudo finds out the true power of his vital instrument, and that being drawing out the power of old and dismissed objects, letting them fulfill their purpose and laying them to rest. This is Rudo's true power of his vital instrument. After figuring this out, the last scene of the anime shows Jobber and his assistant going back to the boss after the failed mission. The boss starts weirdly talking to himself out loud. He mentions Rudo's name, and not only that, he mentions the series of gloves that Rudo is wearing. And as the camera pans to the back of his jacket, he shares the same emblem as Rudo's gloves on the back of it. What? The anime leaves us on another cliffhanger. And so guys, that's pretty much the end. I'm out. Peace.